Hello, fellow streamers, and welcome to this beginner's guide of how you can turn your stream into YouTube Shorts and work on repurposing your stream after the fact. And this is, of course, part of our 10th episode of Let's Talk Streaming. So everything is going well. You started streaming by now, and now you're wondering, okay, so what more can I do after the stream to start to kind of grow my audience, get it out there, and of course, save your stream for later? Well, Twitch, as you may or may not know, limits how long you can store your stream there, especially when you're starting out. And it's just like 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 days. So what I'm doing for all of these episodes and all my streams is I store them on YouTube and on my hard drive. So I have that long form content there. But what we will do today is actually take yesterday's recording and see if we can't get and repurpose that into YouTube Shorts format. So we're going to work with a vertical output format, which I set up previously, and see if we can find some good 60 seconds or less segment or portion of that stream, which we can kind of clip and turn into YouTube Shorts. So let's get started with that. And as always, if you have any questions, perspectives, you like something, you didn't like something, you're stuck somewhere, go ahead and drop a comment in the chat or on the video comment section where you find this, and go ahead and give me that like and subscribe just so I can keep growing and actually start to connect more with you, because I'm not doing this only for myself. I want to also help you get started on your own journey of streaming. But with that said, let's actually get going with this. So for post-processing, I'm using a software called Camtasia. There are many out there, CapCut and so on. I'm just going to use Camtasia for today because that's what I'm used to in my workflow. But there are many options out there. You also have, I believe, DaVinci Resolve and a few other ones which are also free. So don't get caught up just by the software I'm using, but look more at the steps I'm taking and see how you can replicate them using the software you use. Just take a minute to load up. And then, of course, we're starting with a blank canvas, so we will have to add a media. So I will go ahead and I will do that. So I'm just importing it now, and as I shared in yesterday's Let's Talk Streaming episode, I showcased and used the vertical format for the first time, and since YouTube Shorts is highly useful in this format, that's what I want to show with, and I can share with you in an upcoming episode or video how I set it up. I will. But for now, let's look into this one. So as you can see, we have this vertical format going. The topic and this is the entire thing ended up being almost 9 minutes 20 seconds, and YouTube Short is only considered a YouTube Short if it's short, and the maximum I believe is 60 seconds. So let's see, we're just going to go through this, see if we can identify some, that was something good and related to streaming. We're going to clip that, and of course we're also going to do some transcribing and captioning. And part of what I like about Camtasia, and again, this is a modern feature for, I would say, most modern video editing software, is that you can do what's called speech to text. And that's basically, you can go to caption here, and there are two ways, either dynamic, and this is for Camtasia, it might look a bit different for you, and one is closed caption. Closed caption here is where you can extrapolate and get a caption output file. But for this, I think I will use dynamic caption because I want it to stay with the video. And the limitation in Camtasia is, so if I use the old closed caption, I can't move it around, so it'll be stuck here. But if you observe when you scroll YouTube and TikTok for anything, which is in this format, in the similar what we do here with me talking and showing something on the screen, more and more I start to see that they have actually the subtitles in the middle. So I'm therefore, due to limitation in the software I'm using here, Camtasia, kind of forced to go with dynamic caption. And let's go with something simple like this. Or let's see, let's go with this one and see. Maybe I need to drag it down here. And here I'm just trying to gauge, because I know even though we're doing this for YouTube Shorts primarily, I will still try to kind of upload this to the rest Instagram and also TikTok. And I know you have buttons on the side, so I'm trying to account for that. And I don't mind that I am putting this over my channel name. Don't mind one bit. And we will see. And I see it's still generating here. Let's wait for that. All right, so first thing is I want to extend this because as you can see here, we have our video layer and then our dynamic caption layer. And I want to extend this all the way to the end so that we already have it in place. Come on, get there. Come on, you can do it. There you go. So I'm also, even though the text is kind of huge, so I want to see if I can change the font a bit. I haven't used this feature so much because normally I don't run with caption. I just do the other way and then just upload it to YouTube and use YouTube's captioning. So how do I change this? Is the dark background 100% scale? That's the size, but what about font size? Staring me right in the face. And we can actually do this, I believe, so we have something to look at. I still don't like that I have see-through because it tells me there's opacity going on. And I want it to be kind of black so it's easier to read. Can we have... All right, so that's good in terms of... Remember in the previous episode I talked about branding and I'm trying to follow my branding colors. What was it? FF 8000 if I remember correctly. Yeah, looks like it. But I still don't like the see-through because even though this is saying that it is opacity 100%, it really isn't because it's see-through. And for what I'm doing, that doesn't make any sense. So how to turn that off? So I don't need highlighting. And now I have my thinking cap on. Because the reason why I don't like it is you can see here, it's making it harder to read. So, okay, so it's actually... It needs to be 100% seen. And is it this one? No, that's just the shadowing. I want the box. This is just doing it for text. I actually want to see if they have this for the entire box. Do you have that somewhere? Lock. So here we go. That's why I couldn't see it. So there we go. That's the one I was looking for. And okay. So what if I do this? And then can I left adjust the text somehow? Yeah, I can. Good. I just wanted to get rid of that background. So that's something I'm thinking for future iteration. I maybe just make that because it becomes a little bit like a stream title, right? Or an episode title, what it's about. And just make a little bit of artwork, like digital image or something, and just overlay it. And then have this blank background already. And let's see how this looks. That I will look to do in the future. All right, so I like how this is working, and there's just going to be some touching up on some of the words are not right, but I will do that for the specific 60 seconds or less clips if I find a good one. But I like it because also why it's so important with the caption is a lot of people don't have audio on when they do YouTube Shorts or TikTok or Instagram. So them being able to just also tag along because they can see what I'm doing on the screen, but they're not getting the content. But by including the text here, my thinking is that they will be able to see what I'm doing while also understanding and reading what's going on here and the explanation behind it. And in that sense, this part doesn't really matter, but it could. So this is the part of, again, the composition I see a lot happening now for YouTube Shorts for this type of video. So let's actually listen through this and see if we can find something. It's going to take a while, but I think that's the best way to spot, let's say, those quality 60 seconds or less for YouTube Short and TikTok and Instagram. Sure, there are AI websites out there. I've tried them. I am not sold yet, I would say. It's highly reliant upon how structured you are in like your flow or your script, or how prepared you are. And it also costs money after a while. So might as well learn the craft by actually doing it yourself. Oh, and actually I realized, let me turn up the desktop audio so you guys can listen along. Otherwise this would be quite boring. So I just realized that this is doing this type of manual, if you will, work versus an AI service to kind of clip this into smaller bits for repurposing allows us also to look into the content we made and reflect. So it's actually not only that we're trying to repurpose the content, we can also review the content we've done and learn from it. For instance, I realized that although from my self-reflection now, seeing me talk about this, I think I could make this point a lot faster, which is an insight I wouldn't have gotten if I'd go to, let's say, an AI side to do this. So here I see a clear distinct start. So let me go back here. Here we go. So this is the start of something. Is it going to be good? I don't know, but it's a clear start of a topic. So we're at 113. And it can go maximum to 213 for those 60 seconds. So actually, I'll just, because what I wanted to see here, maybe I shouldn't, I will regret this later. My thinking was, if I clip that, I'll see how far I come, but then if there's something good afterwards, then I've just cut that. So not quite what I want. So, all right, so let's, so now you see we're already over the 60 seconds, and maybe I could trim it down, but I'm still not into my comparison yet, which again reinforces what I already realized about this video. For the perspective of shorts, YouTube Shorts and short form content, I need to get to the point a whole lot faster. Maybe also beneficial for, let's say, normal long-term content. Depends a bit about you, the viewer, and where you are and how you can absorb what I'm sharing. But probably better to be able to articulate what I want faster. So here I'm thinking that even though it's taking me quite a while to get to the point or like compare it all, I am going into details about my mental process as well. And I'm thinking that how can I repurpose this? Because either I make it just cutting it out where it makes sense to get the entire piece, but then it would be a normal video, which I kind of already have up in terms of the longer episode. So I could clip it like that, but then I probably want the full format of it, which I also have, but that's not what we're working with. For this, I'm thinking maybe I can identify where this section ends in terms of what I'm talking about. And then I can go back and then I can cut this up into multiple, let's call it 55 seconds shorts, and make them into a short series. And then as one short ends, it recommends the next one, then the next one. And I can also link you to the, in the description, to the next one. Now, thinking about it on one hand as a viewer, let's say, and as a consumer, I really don't like these part 1, part 2, part 3s, especially if they are very short. But I also want to share this in the shorts format because, of course, that's a big audience and it goes out there. So maybe it makes sense that I do that, because from a social media or engagement perspective, I guess if YouTube sees that the person looks at the first video, goes to the second and third, probably a good thing, right? So I'm actually going to try that out. So first I need to find the end, and then we can go back to the beginning and cut it up. So I think this is the good end, because then I'm going into other stuff. Oop. Let's see what we can do here. So we're at 620 something now, and go way the back here at 1. So there'll be like 4, maybe 5 videos if I'm going to do this for short. So let's try it. But yeah, I realized I need to get to the point a lot faster for fitting this YouTube Shorts and short-term content. I think here would be a good time, just because we have this natural pause here. So I'm gonna cut here, and this is gonna be the first one. Where can I see the length of this one? This one turns out to be 56 seconds. All right, so that's one that we can do. I'm just thinking about how I can export this later on, but let's keep working with this section for a bit by removing some of the pauses. And then, of course, we need to correct the text. And I said my auxiliary monitor. This statement is completely irrelevant because I'm showing something, and if I don't talk about it in the short span we have for 60 seconds, it's just unnecessary information. So we can cut and split this one here. This again now, and maybe I should have done this before chopping this up, because we're gonna cram more into it, or we will see where we end up. This is just as much about learning to actually do this. Because I have selected all right. This tool is redundant. It also reinforcing what I'm already learning or learned, that I need to get to the point faster. So this is another way where when you grow as a streamer, I've gone from not knowing anything to becoming an established beginner by taking the action of actually streaming and get better at it. And as I go in the streaming journey, I also realized that I'm growing in other areas, such as communication, and how can I communicate my point clearer, easier to understand, and in a shorter way. Because looking at this, I can understand that from an engagement point of view, people stop hearing after a while if I take forever to get to the point. So I'm gonna accept some spelling mistakes where it's not incredibly important, because otherwise we'd be here for a while. Actually, I see here we have... No, I'm actually doing something, so it makes sense. Here it's way off. So having cut this, let's see where we ended up. So let's go here and let's drag it there. So we ended up with 46 seconds. So let's actually take and add that timeline library. See how this work. So here we have a reference to it. That's good. Now we can continue to the next one. So as you get started as a beginner, I'm doing this and I'm not even thinking about it being perfect. It's just, what can I do that is a little bit better than I did yesterday? And all right, so empty space, unless I'm actually showing something, I delete. I'm getting too long to get to the point. All right, so can I cut down some of that which isn't relevant? But that one is more like, how can I improve this going forward? And a few things like this. And then it's just trying something out and seeing what works and what doesn't. And for me, my main focus now isn't so much about, I want to get 1 million views, or I want to go viral, I want to this or that. It's learning the craft, getting a little bit better skills in what I do, and growing over time, because I know as I grow in these things, not only will I be able to look back and see that I've actually improved, but eventually traffic and engagement will come just because I'm creating better and better content. But it's never going to get there if I don't show up consistently for myself, and eventually also for my viewers, right? So it's not complicated to get started. And like I keep talking about, take those small steps up the stairwell of the skill ladder, and over time you will be amazed about how far you've come. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a cliffhanger for me. So we're actually gonna cut there. So I realized when I sit there, I mean, I'm still gonna do a series of this for the mechanics of doing a series, but I realized that as this is a flowing thing, if you just look at this part, it's an unclear beginning. It's not clear what I'm talking about. And so those are some improvements I can see already that I can do for doing shorts like this. But for me right now, it doesn't matter, because now I'm doing this so I learn how to do it, piece it together, upload it, get it up there, and I can do better next time. I already made the point, so let's cut. Chop it up a little bit, save some time. That's another one. And for the next one, I will actually go back a bit, because of the ending becomes the new intro, so to speak. And it's just this, the longer you stream ... So I want to start the next video with the longer you stream. And maybe that's a good strategy. I will have to try this out more times, of course, that when doing this type of 1, 2, 3, 4, like a series of shorts, to maybe, however it makes sense, like the last few words or the sentence that you end with, you actually start with, so that the idea is that it makes sense even if you start watching piece 2 but not piece 1. Maybe, I don't know, something worth testing. I believe we're just gonna do that here. drag this out for another 50 seconds or so. See what we have. So as you can see, it's not overly complicated starting to do your own editing and doing this, because I'm not doing anything fancy or crazy. I'm just trying to cut out some additional content from this longer piece of content that I can repurpose and upload to other sites. Oh, we actually had a good stop here, I think. So how long was that? That was 24 seconds. Let's see how this makes sense if we just play the entire thing. So this is actually a good case, I think, because there was a clear point of any mechanical steps, which might be a little bit, let's say, weak argument going up. What are you talking about? But from what we heard so far, it's the shortest and clearest to the point thing I've actually seen. So that's, I think, is definitely a clip. I was thinking adding more to it, but I think this makes sense because it's contained within, and it's only like what did we see here? 24 seconds. So I'm gonna save this one. Oh, that's a good one. So I will work a little bit with the captioning on this one. I believe needed some work. I think I will need to cut this anyways because I don't want to mess up the caption from the previous one. So here I'm not translating directly what I'm saying, but more I am for anyone reading but not hearing the audio and thinks it will make more sense, and it will help explain if what I'm saying is not clear enough. And here I will definitely reinforce, let's say, mechanical, as in already done automatically. There's a long text. So let's just go. Let's see how this looks like. Yeah, that works. I realized we left the, I think, was it here? Yes, so there it was. So let's And here for that one. So I'm going to keep working through this, but I think you get the point by now if you follow this far. So I'm going to take the next step now, which is take this, what is it, 2 or 3 ones, and actually turn them into clips. But first, let me save what I have as a project. And I'm going to call this YouTube Shorts, let's say. Right, so now I've saved this format because what I can do now is now I can actually delete some of these because I want to keep working with fewer options. And I haven't learned yet with the Camtasia if I can just select something and then export that clip. But let's see, actually, let's try and see if we can do that. So go back to media and oh, all right. So this is actually what I was looking for. So since we can preview it like this. Yeah. So I think, I mean, yeah, messaging, shorter to the point. So there I can improve. But in terms of the elements of this, I'm quite happy because as you've seen, other people maybe on TikTok and YouTube and so on, they follow this format which I've set up now. And for me, and kind of the, I guess, graphical branding and things, what I'm starting to get into is it's also resonant. I can see this and I can kind of compare back to the branding, which has grown naturally in terms of layout and design and how it looks. It's not something I've tried to achieve. I've done some improvements where I felt it was needed. Let's say brand color, but I look at it and I say like, yeah, well, this looks like streaming 0 to hero. Let's talk streaming. So in a sense, that looks good enough for me. And of course, do I need to tweak something in the future? We will find out, right? But it has clear captions, easy to read. You can see what I'm talking about. You can see me. 2 thumbs up. So let's actually export this one. Let's put it in the same folder as the project so we are organized. And that would be save as type. Wait, I wanna, no, this isn't what I wanting to do. Export. I wanted to produce this. Let's see if this makes sense. So I'll have to do it the old-fashioned way. Before I used to do it, I just delete everything which I don't want, export that, then undo the deletion and work backwards. I was thinking Camtasia was a bit smarter than this, but maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's not that smart. We will see. Couldn't I open up 2? Or is this clearing out the entire thing? I'm still learning Camtasia. No, that closed the entire thing. But okay, but let's see if we have it in our, okay, well, at least here we have them. So then we just do import it here. All right, so this is how it looks. It ended up being 46 seconds long. Go to export, local file. I can always rename this later when I come up with a good title for it. But for now, YouTube short 1. Your name will obviously be different. YouTube shorts, exports. And we wait for the rendering to work its magic. Great, now let's do it for the 2 next ones. I can actually try to... Yeah. Ah, no, we're already in the right folder. All right, so far, and let me actually open up our project again. So I'm going to keep working through these, and of course, you don't have to watch me repeat the same step for the rest of the time here, but what's left to do is I will continue working through this off stream. Next step, of course, is coming up with some suitable file names for them, depending on the content, and then I will upload them to YouTube. And of course, then titling, description, we will cover that in a future episode. And then how you do it, either you upload everyone and just publish straight away, or you can actually schedule it so that you have a little bit time in between. And this is how you can start to build up a time buffer, if you will, for the days where either you don't have time, you can have something pre-scheduled to go out, or you just running low on content ideas or are sick and just saying, I have something I can upload. So you can build that buffer, let's say, of content. This is a great way of doing it. And I'm also thinking that depending on how you lay this up, is that coming back later so that you can edit them, and at the end in YouTube you have this ability to like showcase the next video so that they always can be presented with the option of seeing the next video at the end of the video. Anyways, I'm gonna leave you with that. Do you like this Let's Talk Streaming Talks episode I'm doing? If you have questions about streaming, go ahead and drop a comment in the discussion chat wherever you find this, and don't forget to like and follow so you'll be able to keep up with more videos and tips and tricks for streaming like this. That's it. Have a good one.